So in this video, we're going to be setting up a post form. So let's go ahead in here and say PHP artisan make livewire form. We're just going to call this, in this case, we're going to have this inside livewire forms, just like we have the login form there. And we're going to call this post form. So PHP artisan livewire form. And there we go. So that should now be created inside here. So as you can see, we now have this extending the form component. What we can go ahead and do is we can copy and paste all of this in here, pass it into the post form component, and in here we can then use validate required string. And in this case, we also want to have that the same for the slug. And for the model, was that in by accident, so let's put that back in here, just like that. And then the content again, we can have validate required as a string. And in here, we just need to have that validate required as a boolean. So with that sorted, let's make sure we're also using the hashtag here. We should now be able to head into our new post form model. And in here, we can then create a function called save. So if we go in here, let's make sure this is a void function here. What we should be able to do is we should be able to say post, or in this case, call the model article, create, and I think we're just going to rename this into article form as well. So we're going to say article create. Then we're just going to say this. And in this case, it's important to make sure we have content slug that the names match each other inside the form here. So we do have the names matching here. The only thing is published, so that we will need to work around with a bit later. So let's go ahead and say this form, or article form to be specific. So let's say public article form as article form. And then it then say validate. And let's add in the throw tags here. So with that sorted, if you look inside the documentation here, we should just be able to create the form by calling the validate functionality here. So if we go ahead and make sure we use on in here as an imported one. And then let's see what the issue in here is. So let's just copy this here into the new post form model. So we're having an issue in here. So we have this article form. We need to have that down here, just like that. And there we go. So currently we're receiving an issue with showing this. So if we head into our new post model, in here we should just be able to say article form instead.
Okay.
So if we now try to click this here, it still doesn't seem to be triggered. So in here we also want to make sure that this is being triggered by the model here. So let's go ahead and we need to make sure this is actually out of trouble to toggle model function here, just like this here. There we go. And now we can essentially start validating this. So I'm gonna go ahead and inside new post model here, call this create article. And upon clicking on here instead, we're just gonna have a spinner, which is gonna be for save, and we're gonna have wire submit save. And nothing is happening right now. So let's make sure that we have this button here as a type submit, and make sure that wire click is going to go to save. There we go. So let's see if we can actually refresh here and create an article. So I'm just going to call this test, and test, and make sure actually in here that we will assign this to a variable. We'll then die dump on the variable. So by just writing test, and we're getting not null validation error here. So currently this is probably caused by title value here. So instead, what we can go ahead and do for now is just make sure that we have the correct value passed through here. So if you look in here, we shouldn't actually pass this into the array. We should just pass it in like here. Don't even need to pass it into an array. We can just validate it, just like this. And there we go. So if we head in now and try again. And then let's go ahead and rename this with an underscore instead. And let's try and see if this works now. And there we go. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we're going to be displaying the article. And thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.